And thanks for staying tuned to the NTA network service. Welcome to Weekend File live in Abuja. In July this year, the federal government announced plans to roll out 2.3 trillion naira stimulus package and survival fund for micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, to enable them stay afloat amid the harsh economic realities imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Survival Fund includes payroll support for 3 months and a guaranteed off-take scheme, among others, all under the National Economic Sustainability Plan. The federal government has since released the guidelines to enable beneficiaries have access to the 75 billion naira Survival Fund and support initiatives, which took effect from September 1, 2020, making provision for 45% participation by female-owned businesses and 5% special needs participation. The payroll support scheme is expected to give succor to a maximum of 10 employees per qualifying MSME. The scheme is estimated to save at least 1.3 million jobs across the country, while targeting an average of 35,000 individuals per state. It is interesting to note that more than 50,000 applications were completed before the portal closed. So tonight on Weekend File, we shall examine the federal government survival fund for micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs. There will be special reports from across the country and a discussion segment with Tola Johnson, a special advisor to the president on MSMEs, as our guest. I am Kenen Ima Abudike. The news first. Joe Biden has won the 2020 U.S. election, with the Democrat projected to become the 46th president of the United States after winning the state of Pennsylvania to surpass the 270 electoral college votes needed for victory, just as Kamala Harris becomes first black woman, South Asian elected vice president. Justin Bem-Onye brings us the updates.
Democratic presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden has been declared the winner of the 2020 U.S. election, defeating incumbent President Donald Trump in one of the most contentious elections in American history. Biden has surpassed former President Barack Obama's 2008 popular vote total, breaking the record for the most votes ever received by a U.S. presidential candidate in American history, the first candidate to surpass 70 million. With a major win officially flipping the state of Pennsylvania Saturday morning, Biden has now exceeded the threshold of the 270 electoral college votes needed to secure the presidency. Trump won the state by about 44,000 votes in 2016. Biden will be joined by his running mate Kamala Harris, who made history Saturday as the first black woman elected as vice president of the United States, shattering barriers that have kept men, almost all of them white, entrenched at the highest levels of American politics for more than 2 centuries. The 56-year-old California senator, also the first person of South Asian descent elected to the vice presidency, represents the multiculturalism that defines America but is largely absent from Washington's power centers. In a swift reaction, Biden have said, and I quote, "America, I am honored that you have chosen me to lead our great country. The work ahead of us will be hard, but I promise you this, I will be a president for all Americans. Whether you voted me or not, I will keep the faith that you have placed in me." End of quote. Trump quickly responded to the announcement by accusing Biden of falsely declaring himself the next president. In a statement, he said, and I quote, "We all know why Joe Biden is rushing to falsely pose as the winner and why his media allies are trying so hard to help him. They don't want the truth to be exposed. The simple fact is this: election is far from over." End of quote. Justin Bem-Onye, NTA News.
Joining me live via Zoom to discuss more on the U.S. election is the former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Joe Keshi. Ambassador Keshi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, Joe Biden actually polled more than enough votes to come to this level. And vis-a-vis the dark areas that were noticed en route to this stage, what do you feel is the reading of the situation, even as everyone is still waiting to see the final end of it?
I think we are witnessing the long struggle of a fine person. And truly, if you want to be spiritual, you could actually say that, as we Christians always say, that God's time is the best. Here is a man who's contested elections 3 times, actually gave up 4 years ago when he was persuaded to step down for Hillary Clinton, and decided his public life was over. But when he saw the way America was going, he felt challenged that no, somebody needed to step up to save the country and restore the soul of America, as he likes to say. Less than over 1 year ago, when he started his campaign, he had made it on the 3rd time he's tried to be president of the United States. And when you look at the campaign, you will definitely see that not 1 or 2, but so many reasons why he became the choice of Americans this time around.
Well, considering the submissions coming from the incumbent, Donald Trump, would you say the battle is over?
Look. We all used to Donald Trump, and I've been discussing with some people, believe it or not, we are going to miss Donald Trump. What he said this evening is completely irrelevant. The election is simple over, and Americans have spoken, and Joe Biden is going to be the 46th president of the United States. There is nothing, absolutely nothing Trump can do except the usual bragado of Trump. He's going to sue everybody in the process, but as of today, not one single evidence does he have for any election malpractices in the United States.
At times like this, some countries will begin to, make some, how do I put it now? They want to know what comes, to them with a new president. Now, Joe Biden is likely to be the man, or is the man now. Nations like Nigeria and others, where do we stand?
I think, the way I always like to answer this question, I always say to Nigerian reporters, let's not look at it this way, what others will do for us. I think the question is more, what will we do for ourselves? It is when you behave like an adult. It is when you grow up, when you become an economic giant in your own rights, that people will come to respect you, admire you, and they will prepare to deal with you. This is not a poor country, but this is a country that is badly managed. This is a country that, instead of us concentrating on becoming a productive nation, we are focusing on becoming a consuming nation. And when you continue to do that, nobody gives so much care or respect, So let's not be asking what others will do for us. I think we should go back to say, what can we do for ourselves in order that the world will respect us, in order that we can be competitive with the rest of the world? Let's do away with this entitlement mentality every time and say, what can A do for us? What can B do for us? No. What can we do for ourselves to become a respected nation? That should be our focus. And I think that there's a lot we can actually learn from the Americans, and there's a lot Nigerian politicians can learn from Joe Biden throughout this whole of this campaign. But let me make the point again. Donald Trump has become a one-term president, and the world lives today with a big relief.
Thank you indeed, Ambassador Joe Keshi. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Solo.
President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the former Vice President Joe Biden on his election as new President of the United States at a time of uncertainty and fear in world affairs. The Nigerian leader said your election is a significant reminder that democracy is the best form of government because it offers the people the opportunity to change their government by peaceful means According to President Buhari, the most powerful group are not the politicians, but voters who can decide the fate of the politicians at the polling booth. He noted that the main fascination of democracy is the freedom of choice and the supremacy of the will of the people. The president added that respect for the will of the people is the very reason why democracy remains the best form of government, despite its limitations from one polity to another and from one society to another. According to him, I am thrilled by the fact that you are an experienced politician who has served as congressman for 40 years and a vice president for 8 years. This is a remarkable track record that gives us hope that you will add value to the presidency and the world affairs. President Buhari also noted that with the election, we look forward to greater cooperation between Nigeria and the United States, especially at economic, diplomatic and political levels, including the war against terrorism. On international affairs, President Buhari urged Mr. Biden to deploy your vast experience in tackling the negative consequences of nationalist politics on world affairs, which have created divisions, conflicts and uncertainties. The Nigerian leader also called on Mr. Biden to introduce greater engagement with Africa on the basis of reciprocal respects and shared interests. Now, the wanton destruction of Lagos State assets during the violence that trailed the NSAS protest by some unscrupulous persons has been condemned in its entirety. But Ondo State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum, while commiserating with Lagos State Governor over the incident, said the state plays a key role in the sustenance of the nation's economy and must be secured. Abolade Salami reports.
As the seventh largest economy in Africa, with more than 20 million people and various developmental strides, Lagos State remains one of Africa's pride and destination for commerce. The state recently went through one of its darkest moments as irate youths destroyed assets running into trillions of naira, while many private businesses were completely destroyed. Governor Babagana Zulum described the act as unfortunate and condemnable, with a call on all stakeholders to join the government in rebuilding the city.
While we strongly condemn the police brutality in some parts of the state nation, we also condemn what has happened in Lekki, but we should also condemn the excesses of the Nigerian youths.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, while appreciating the concerns of leaders, assured them of the unalloyed commitment of his administration to build a greater Lagos where people are secured and businesses protected. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
The Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps Boboye Oyemi, says effective patrol monitoring and rescue operations have commenced in parts of the country, irrespective of what he described as a colossal destruction. Amaka Owo reports that the Corps Marshal gave the hint during an inspection tour of the areas affected by the violence that erupted in Lagos on the heels of NSAS protests.
After all the salutations, the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyemi, proceeded with the on-the-spot assessment of the extent of damage and vandalism at the Lagos State Command, Ujudu, where 16 patrol vehicles were destroyed, among other office infrastructure, crippling patrol activities for more than 2 weeks.
We resumed patrol activities on Monday, and we are still dealing with hostile road users. Even in some states, they promise the patrolmen that they are coming, that vehicle they are still using, they are coming to burn it. But again, we are reinforced security. But I think there's need for Nigerians to eschew violence. I think let us allow governments to carry out their responsibilities in terms of social services, gainful employment, improving on the security. So, but our personnel are back on the road. I think we peak by next week because of the concluding part of the Ember months and end of the year patrol operations.
The FRSC boss says A report will be presented to the Secretary of the Government of the Federation to fast-track intervention recovery plans. He says the absence of men of the corps within the last few weeks has heightened the number of road mishaps and casualties. Burning of about 27 patrol vehicles and other key infrastructure are aftermath of the end SARS violence in 8 states across the Federation. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
The Lagos State Panel of Inquiry on Police Brutality and Lekki Tollgate incidents has been suspended till the 14th November 2020 due to issue involving a member of the panel. Jennifer Igwe was at the hearing.
A full house faced with a nearly full but not complete panel. So all the cases scheduled for sitting, including presentation by the Nigerian Army on the Lekki Tollgate incident, could not be heard. The reason, according to chairman of the panel, Justice Doris Okuobi, retired, is connected to the freezing of the account of one of the youths on the panel.
We're informed that she's one of those youths whose accounts have been frozen, and we do not know whether or not they will continue sitting with us or pull out of the panel.
The youths on the panel are members of the NSAS protesters, representing interests of the youths in the inquiry. Counsel to the NSAS protesters, Adesina Ogulano, speaks on their absence at the hearing.
People who are not just any other member of the panel, but protecting the special interest of the protesters have been sanctioned, and that is why they are not here. As it is a dent on this process.
She adjourned hearing till the 14th of November. Hopefully by then, whatever issues there is would have been cleared. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered the deployment of all legitimate force to protect lives and property of citizens, including police officers and their families, from attacks. The IGP explains that the force will not tolerate a repeat of the horrendous attacks and killings, arson and wanton destruction and looting of public and private assets witnessed during the recent violent protests in some parts of the country. He warns that the force shall deploy the full weight of the law and legitimate force, if necessary, in preventing a reoccurrence. Lagos residents this Saturday witnessed another tanker explosion along the Kara Bridge axis in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, leaving a trail of 2 fatalities, 10 casualties, and many vehicles totally razed. Hengino John Adams reports that though emergency responders claimed to have arrived at the scene of the accident on time, but attack from suspected hoodlums deterred their efforts to prevent loss of lives and property.
A tanker containing premium motor spirit fell and immediately went on fire, following the trail of spilled petrol. The driver and his assistant were burnt beyond recognition, while 28 vehicles that were parked close to the scene were affected. It was sad that rescue teams of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, and Lagos Fire Service were prevented from accessing the scene by hoodlums. The debris has been removed from the scene, and the road is now open. Meanwhile, the inferno that gutted Ondo Tank Farm in Apapa since Thursday, 5th November, has finally been put out. This came after 48 hours operational fight by agencies concerned.
We put efforts all through the whole day. In the night, we came up with additional technology that had to attack the fire aerially.
No life was lost and no injury was recorded. In Lagos, Hengino John Adams, NTA News.
In a related development, the Co-Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps Boboye Oyemi has described as unfortunate but avoidable the fatal crash that occurred this Saturday at Kara Bridge, stating that frantic efforts are already in place to put an end to tanker explosions. The Co-Marshal confirms that 2 male adults were burnt beyond 29 vehicles parked by the roadside burned. Oyemi also lamented the actions of hoodlums who prevented the combined rescue teams of the Federal Fire Service and FRSC from approaching the scene of the crash. On the present state of traffic on the road, the Corps wishes to inform the general public that there is no need for panic as the crashed vehicles have been removed from the road and all obstructions cleared, with the road now opened to use. The Bodo-Boni Road in Rivers State, abandoned for 3 decades, is to be completed by the federal government. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola dropped the hint during the inauguration of the Rebisi flyover bridge constructed by the Rivers State government in Port Harcourt City Council area. Ogede Nyekwere completes the report.
The Rebisi flyover bridge is one of the 3 flyover bridges flagged off simultaneously in October last year, with a promise by the governor to deliver them within 16 months. Less than the estimated time, one of the flyovers is completed.
Our responsibility and our mandate from Mr. President is to support the developmental initiatives and aspirations of every state.
Governor Wike, who is elated for making good his promises to the people, said all the flyover bridges are all sited on federal government rules and appealed to the minister to help in facilitating the reforms.
On Monday, I will sign an executive order where any landlord who allows these traders in front of their houses, government will acquire your property. Because enough is a...
The Aba Road and Transamadi Junction section of the bridge measures 360 meters. In Port Harcourt, Ogede Nyekwere, NTA News.
This is Weekend File on the NTA. Let's take a break. The news continues shortly.
A scorecard like no other. Put in place measures and initiatives principally targeted at youths, women, and the most vulnerable groups in our society. These included broad plan to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years, the creation of 75 billion naira National Youth Investment Fund to provide opportunities for the youths, and the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Survivor Fund, through which government is A. Paying 3-month salaries of the staff of 100,000 micro, small and medium enterprises. B. Paying for the registration of 250,000 businesses at the Corporate Affairs Commission. C. Giving a grant of 30,000 naira to 100,000 artisans and guaranteeing market for the product of traders. These are in addition to many other initiatives such as farmer money, trader money, market money, N-Power, N-Tech, and N-Agro. These and more in spite of a recession and a global pandemic.
Rest of the life of the next life. Una. Arrange your voice, more cash now.
Hola. Shift. Mind yourself. Social distancing, please.
We observe social distance in this house.
Maintain your social distance.
Do what you've never done before. Find your first with the best data deals in town. Dial *777#. Glow Unlimited.
This
Central Working Committee for the installation of the 19th Emir of Zazzau invites the general public to the official installation and presentation of staff of office to His Highness Ambassador Ahmad Nubamali as the 19th Emir of Zazzau, to be performed by His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasru Ahmed Erufai, OFR, on Monday, November 9, 2020, at Muhammadu Aminu Square Racecourse, GRA Zaria, by 9 o'clock in the morning. Announcer, Zazzau Emirate Council.
Good morning. First on the news. The World Health Organization has declared Nigeria wild polio virus free.
Nah, you don't mean it.
Nigeria is polio free. Does that mean vaccinators will not be coming to our houses? Let's listen, please.
The Honorable Minister stated that Nigeria is still at risk of importing the wild polio virus, as 2 other countries still have the virus. Thus, to keep polio at zero, vaccination must be sustained on a regular basis.
But how can they sustain this vaccination with this coronavirus?
Let's listen now. Wow.
Health workers in all PHCs across the country have been trained by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to protect themselves and their clients against COVID-19. Nigerians have absolutely nothing to fear.
Continue to visit primary health care centers near you for vaccination and other basic health needs.
Keep polio at zero. Congratulations, Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
COVID-19 is a new disease that has come into Nigeria for the last 7 months, and it led to the shutting down of the economy because of how to control the spread of the disease.
As legislators, we owe it a duty to Nigerians to enact laws that will help us forge a path out of this situation.
This meeting will be looking at building knowledge with regards to strengthening our resilience for emergency preparedness.
This workshop, which will bring together a multiplicity of stakeholders to learn, to share, to brainstorm, and really map a way forward for Nigeria to come out of the conundrum that we are in.
And I urge all well-meaning legislators to engage fully with this conference.
We are going on hybrid.
The Executive Secretary and CEO of NAUDA, Prince Paul Ikone, regrets to inform that the inauguration of the National Young Farmers Scheme, NYFS, by President Muhammadu Buhari, earlier scheduled for Monday, the 9th November 2020, has been shifted to the next day, Tuesday, 10th November 2020, at the Federal Executive Council Chamber, Presidential Villa, Abuja, at 12 noon. All our invited guests to please note and be seated by 11 a.m. before the arrival of Mr. President. Signed, Management.
Welcome back to Weekend File. From Jos, Plateau State, Ndeyank Adeyaba Gyang reports that more than 2,000 artisans across the 17 local government areas have accessed the fund.
Dusu, an automobile mechanic, Rachel Auta, a bag maker, and Peter Kwada, a shoemaker, have one thing in common. They are all small and medium-scale entrepreneurs that had been hit by COVID-19 as the lockdown forced them to close up. Fate has, however, smiled on them. They are amongst over 2,000 artisans in Plateau State who have benefited from the one-off 30,000 Naira conditional grant under the federal government's 75 billion Naira Survival Fund scheme. And in tandem with the scheme's objectives, women were given equal opportunity under this target group.
The way things are going now, no matter how little, it helps. So we cannot say that 30,000 is nothing, it doesn't help. No, it actually helps.
During the pandemic, we lost customers because people hardly come to sew. Now that we got the 30,000, it has really helped us because we needed working capital.
It will help us to buy some material to improve in our work.
4,500 artisans were earlier captured and trained on how to manage the fund for sustainability.
We have been able to create a system whereby we will continue to enhance their capacity and also conduct monitoring and evaluation.
Artisans are being encouraged to formalize their businesses with the Corporate Affairs Commission, as this will position them to access more of such government interventions. In Jos, Indenyan, and the Abagang, NTA News.
As part of government's alleviation scheme, the federal government has approved the disbursement of micro, small, medium enterprises, MSME's survival fund for artisans. And a survey from the FCT has it that disbursement of funds commenced on 2nd November 2020 in Wuse Market. Wafai Ibo has the details.
Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Revolving Guaranteed Offtake Scheme is one of the federal government's economic support measures to assist micro and small businesses affected by the pandemic. And beneficiaries of the scheme in Wuse Market in the nation's capital commended the federal government for the laudable initiative while drawing attention to those who are yet to receive the funds.
I have collected my own, but most of my members did not collect this money.
I thank God for what the government wants to do for us, but where the money is going, they say we should write name, all of us will write name. People remain, there are plenty more than us collect.
Wafai Ibo, NTA News.
About 3,000 applicants in Abia State are waiting to receive the federal government's SME's grant to keep their businesses afloat. Benson Osadebe reports from Aba.
The federal government, in its desire to boost the nation's economy, has designed several grants and soft loans for small-scale businesses. The latest is the 30,000 naira grant to SMEs to cushion the prevalent economic hardship. This is not the first time citizens in Abia State will benefit from such federal government's gesture.
This is what I believe the post-COVID strategy of government to support what I might call people at the lowest strata of life.
This 57-year-old beautician with over 100 other members of her association is waiting for the support scheme.
I applied and included my members. If they give us 30,000, it can make an impact.
Maybe if someone that has maybe attachment in the shop, you can engage that money in some other areas in the shop.
Unlike the beautician and her colleagues, some artisans in Aba are ignorant of the program.
No, I don't know. The government is supposed to tell the citizens that are giving grants to the individuals.
I don't know that government is giving money to artisans. If I have known, I will apply and also tell my people to apply.
The program is driven by the Industrial Training Fund, Smidan and the Back of Industry. In Aba, Benson Osadebe, NTA News.
Appreciable number of artisans and key players in the micro, small and medium enterprises subsector have received the federal government survival fund and other schemes to cushion the effects of COVID-19 and other financial challenges hindering the survival of their businesses. Olajide Bello, who went on a fact-finding mission about the distribution of the fund in the state, now reports.
Temitope Ujo-Stephen, who is into leather work, says his business was thriving very well until the outbreak of COVID-19, which made his survival difficult as his business was put on hold. To save the likes of Temitope from folding up their businesses, where they get money to take care of their families, President Muhammadu Buhari approved the Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan to cushion the effect of the pandemic. The relief package is for two MSME schemes, namely Guaranteed Offtake and Survival Fund.
The COVID-19 Intervention Fund, which came out around June. So some of us have benefited. I personally am one of the beneficiaries.
In Ondo State, over 39,000 people were captured for the Artisan and Transport Scheme, payroll support, MSME's grant and Guaranteed Offtake schemes. While some have started receiving alerts from their respective banks as confirmation of payment, others are expectant.
About 3 or 4 guys came from Abuja through microcredits, and they came to collect our data, our names, our account numbers, and they took our pictures.
When I heard about it anyway, I was happy because this is another step of federal government that they want to do something that can help we artisans.
While appreciating President Muhammadu Buhari for his unique gesture and for having them in mind, from Akure Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And joining us in the studio is the Special Assistant to the President on MSMEs and Project Coordinator for MSME Survival Fund, Tola Johnson. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you very much.
Obviously, this is the first batch of the scheme. How is it turning out? Because some of the respondents there actually said they were not aware.
Okay. So, good evening once again. And what was done was that the country was divided into 3 streams. That is for the Artisan scheme now. The country was divided into 3 streams when they enumerated them in the different states. Once that process was done, the steering committee, because there's a steering committee headed by the Honorable Minister of State, Trade and Investment, Ambassador Mariam Katagum. When that process was done, so we had to go through that steering committee to seek approval. The steering committee will look at what you have brought and do a sort of checks to see that things are as they ought to be. And we got the approval. Upon that approval, we decided to move and start payment of 11 states. They were meant to be 12 states. But we realized that one of the states had not engaged us with their state focal person, and it will not be wise to go ahead and pay without, because the essence of a state focal person was to always be there to liaise between the federal and the state, so that the state government is always aware of what you're doing, basically. So, as we speak now, 11 of those states, like you rightly said, commenced payments since on the 2nd, and we're expecting the feedbacks we are getting are very positive. Yes, there may be a few issues here and there where maybe as they try to push the payment, maybe some of the BVN numbers or whatever were not correct. So some of those names probably came back, but they are minute. They are not a lot of names. So what they did was that they started calling these people individually to say, okay, we tried to make a payment today. It didn't go through. So could it be that you give us, check your BVN again, is it wrong, or check your account number again? So these are a few numbers, and then we're looking at them basically, and we'll ensure that everyone that was approved for payment will be paid with regards to that. Now, the second stream is currently being enumerated, and the second stream of 12 states. And once that process is completed, like the first one, the PDO, which I head, we go to seek an approval from the steering committee. The steering committee, apart from the Honorable Minister who heads it, has people like Onamebukun Awoshika. It has NASME representative. It has BOI, Smendan, NASME. So, I mean, it has full representation from the MSME space, basically. So, upon approval, payment is done as well until we get to this third stream.
The states that couldn't make it in the first batch, will it be in the second batch?
Oh, yeah. If the states avails us or...
There was one.
Just one state.
So, will it be in the second batch?
It's going to be depending on the states. If it will be on the second batch, it will be dependent on the states. Because the states first, you need to avail us your state focal person. What was done was immediately our committee was, our approval was gotten and the committee was inaugurated. The first thing the Minister of State did was to write a letter, or she wrote letters to the 36 states and FCT to request partnership, to request support, and to ask them to nominate a state focal person. Because the essence of that is that, so that we do not want a time where a state government will say, oh, X number of people have benefited from this, from XYZ scheme, but we're not aware. So once you have a liaison between us and them, it's very easy, so that they feedback the different excellencies, the various governors, so that from whatever it is that we're doing, they are aware, basically. So that state, if we get, I think we're going to send them a reminder. We've done more than one reminder. We're going to send them another reminder. If they're not, so the focus is just on the
These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
healthier news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
My name is Nando Jamda Muhammad.
Stedita Hussein Musa.
Roduna Joel Finji. Said Musa John. I'm a carpenter. I've been doing this for more than 8 years now.
And I said that plantain Nakai Kimami Shekara Uku.
I've been selling my tomatoes for about 10 years now, and I do it for a better Nigeria.
And I do it for a better Nigeria.
And you can see how we are doing our small little work to make Nigeria great.
As you can see, I'm a technician and I'm doing it to help myself and to help my generation.
Business.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back. About 5,000 artisans and micro, small and medium-scale enterprises in Rivers State have been duly registered under the federal government survival fund to stimulate the survival of businesses across the federation after the hit of the coronavirus. Joy Uzo reports that the potential beneficiaries are earnestly awaiting the grant to boost their businesses.
Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, through the Industrial Training Fund, Rivers State Office, held a stakeholders interactive forum with associations of businesses in which they were sensitized on steps to take in accessing the grants.
If we as a government give every skilled artisan an enabling environment for his or her skill to be harnessed.
This is an added value to us because we are not just going to tell them stories. We are going to let them know that the government has recognized our association.
2 weeks after the forum, over 5,000 businesses have been collated based on their individual names, BVN and telephone numbers. An ITF official who spoke off camera said they assisted the potential beneficiaries with the collation and are awaiting a response from the Survivor Fund delegation for Rivers State in ensuring that the beneficiaries get the grant to boost their businesses.
We need to monitor them. We need to see whether the intended job and to buffer the effect of the COVID has actually been achieved.
They called for a more enabling environment, saying it is a major stimulus that the micro, small and medium-scale enterprises need to survive in any economy. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
And Delta State is amongst the states where the federal government survival fund for artisans has been implemented. Austin Edomodu reports that over 4,000 members registered.
Artisans were seriously affected economically by the COVID-19 pandemic as their businesses suffered setbacks during the lockdown. In response to this, the federal government set up a special grant of 30,000 naira for artisans across the country. Here is a cross-section of some of the artisans in one of their meetings, put together by the facilitator in Delta State.
I must commend the association chairman and the members for being able to come up with a straight document that we can send to national in less than 3 days. Enumeration is going on in Delta State right now. Once it's pre-qualified, they are paying directly into your account.
A furniture maker, Owolabi Okere, is even getting to know of the program for the first time.
Me and some of my colleagues will never hear anything about that.
I must sincerely appreciate our President Muhammadu Buhari for at least remembering that the artisans are suffering in this country. So we really thank him so much because no president have done this before.
I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
We're still here with the Special Assistant to the President on MSMEs and Project Coordinator for MSME Survival Fund, Tola Johnson. We spoke earlier about the aspect of the artisans in this scheme. I'm sure there are others that the viewer would like to know about. And again, who are eligible to key in?
Okay, so the entire component of the survival fund constitutes of the payroll support. And the payroll support, what that is meant to do is to augment salaries for MSMEs. MSMEs that were affected by the pandemic, a lot of them are going to start laying off staff. So the payroll support was to say, hey, we are going to pay up to 10 of your staff for 3 months. If you're paying them above 50,000, we'll pay them 50,000 for 3 months. So 10 staff, if we look at the numbers that you have, if you have a lot of numbers, we'll do about 10 staff, 3 months. So that's about $500,000 every month for 3 months. What that will do for you is that it will ease you some financial strain. So whatever money you're supposed to be using to pay, you can use to do some other things. If you do not qualify for 10 staff, let's even assume you qualify for 5, and you pay your staff less than 50,000, we'll pay them the minimum wage, which is 30,000 naira. So in that case, 30,000 for 5 people every month, that's 150 for 3 months. So we understand that a lot of MSMEs have gone through a lot with regards to this COVID pandemic, and it was just to cushion that effect. With that, the portal was open on the 21st. As we speak right now, we are in our verification process. Once
that's for the second batch now.
No, verification for the payroll.
The payroll. Okay.
Yeah, because we want to ensure that, you see, there's none of our scheme that you pay to a third party. All these schemes you pay directly to the people. So, and you want to, even when an MSME lists 10 people as a staff, the job is, the MSME is the one that will contact to list us and tell us your staff. Once it's done that, we'll pay the staff directly. So they are verifying now the different staff and the different businesses. That's on the one hand. There's also, let's not forget that the Artisan also has the transport components to it. So it's Artisan and transport. But because we wanted to monitor this scheme very well, we decided that let's start with the Artisan. So once we are done with the Artisan, very quickly, we move to the transport or whatever it is that is approved by the steering committee. Then you now also have some people that will not necessarily benefit or cannot fit into the payroll, but have been affected, and they are the very micro businesses. So we have 50,000 naira for those businesses, about 100,000 of them. So when we want to kickstart that, we'll let the public know. If you qualify, first come, first serve. It is divided into, it has been divided into different states as well. So once you apply, we'll give you this 50,000 naira to cushion whatever effects this thing has done for your business. Then, during the MSME clinic that the Vice President and the Honorable Minister of State go around for over 26 days, we realize there are a lot of very, very great businesses, no registration. They will tell you that they don't have 12,000 naira to register their businesses. So we have used this opportunity to say, wait a minute, let's seize this opportunity to help MSMEs. So we're registering 250,000 businesses across the country. Each state is registering about 6,600 or thereabouts. So in that regard as well, that has started. The CAC has started that process, and I understand that that process is ongoing and going on very well. Lastly, we have something called the guaranteed offtake. Now, this targets the targets MSMEs in the production line. Now, by this time last year, people wearing face masks were in Nigeria it was not normal. But we need to live with the fact that for a few months to come, we'll probably be doing that. So I'm supposed to go and ship face masks from abroad, shipping hand sanitizers from abroad. We have an MSME space that can handle it. So we're trying to engage and financially support those MSMEs to, okay, if you can produce our own Nigerian kind of face mask, hand sanitizers, come on. And the federal government guarantees them, buys those things off them, and gives it to people in the states that need it.
Oh, that's a very laudable initiative. But what are your parting words on the program tonight, especially for those who don't believe in the initiative?
Okay. Now, for those that do not believe in the initiative, you see, sometimes when people say, "Oh, come and bring," when you are coming, bring people that have benefited. I said to them, no, I'm not going to bring people that have benefited. We are going to give you data of people across the country that have benefited. You can call them. I'm not going to walk into a studio, or maybe the minister walks somewhere and she's carrying a bunch of people that have benefited. What if those people didn't actually benefit. So we'll give you the data we have.
To check for yourself.
You check for yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Tola Johnson, for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with the Special Assistant to the President on MSMEs and Project Coordinator for MSMEs Survival Fund, Tola Johnson. Do stay with us. One more commercial lap.
The counsel of our fathers.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
The National Council of Sports in Nigeria has ratified the staging of Edo 2020 National Sports Festival in December. Gift George is our guide on sports update.
The National Council of Sports in Nigeria rose from the 22nd meeting held in Asaba, Delta State to ratify new dates for the Edo 2020 National Sports Festival, scheduled to hold between 3rd and 16th of December 2020, which will be staggered.
The Council unanimously approved the organization of the festival before the end of the year 2020.
The Edo 2020 is now going to host. We've approved on it, we have approved it, the Council has approved it.
Austin Edemodo reports that part of the decision also reached are adoption of the draft Nigerian industry policy as amended and the classification of sports from recreational activities to business. In a similar development, the Samuel Ogbomedia Stadium is wearing a new look as it prepares to host the 2021 African Cup of Nations qualifiers between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Leon Stars of Sierra Leone on November 13, 2020. Peter Oyibo reports that the 15,000 capacity stadium, which will be opened for the first time after renovation, has other international standard facilities.
We have an all-grass football pitch, floodlit, or VAR facility. So Samuel Ogbomedia Stadium is ready to host any world-class event, any World Cup at any level.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Football Supporters Club has appealed to the Nigerian Super Eagles fans to accept the Minister of Sports advice to stay away from the venue of the Super Eagles match.
All fans of the Super Eagles, to in spirit pray for the Super Eagles to win their game. We don't need to be in the stadium because of these various directives.
In the English Premier League, matches played on Saturday shows that Manchester United got back to winning ways with a 3-1 away victory over Everton, while Crystal Palace beat Leeds 4-1. Sunday fixtures will see West Brom take on Tottenham Hotspur, Leicester City squares up against Wolves. The big match will be between Man City and defending champions Liverpool, while Arsenal takes on Aston Villa. With Sports Update, Gift George, NTA News.
And that's Weekend File on the NTA. Many thanks to you for watching. My name is Kenan Ima Aborike. Enjoy your weekend.